Hey guys, welcome back to this episode of Book Club for Movies. I've seen two movies since we last spoke. Let's go ahead and dive into them. Now I'm going to go ahead and bury the lead just a little bit. Neither of these movies are going to be going on my shelf over there. They were both disappointing for their own reasons, but one was much more of a disappointment than the other one ever could be. First movie I want to talk to you all about this week is this movie here by the name of The Burning. And you may have seen me talk about this the week I picked it up. This is one of those 4 for $40 I got from that guy on Facebook Marketplace. And this was one that I had been very interested in seeing. Now, if you ever need a reminder as to why I am cursed in the head like I am, it's because this movie is always in some weird rights rotation. Okay? I saw this movie on disc, of course. I'll always let you know when I end up streaming something. But my wife and I are currently watching a show on Amazon Prime. And I saw that this was in my Amazon Prime watch list. So I just wanted to click on it, see the ratings, see the reviews. And when I clicked on it, it let me know that the rights had currently expired for it. And I said, okay. And then I look it up on Just Watch, and it's not streaming anywhere. It's not streaming on Netflix, Prime, anywhere normally. It's on one website I've never heard of before called Fansome, whatever. I know there's probably not an app for it on my TV, and I don't understand. It's one of those, it's like a Tubi that it's not Tubi. It's its own streaming service that's free ad supported. So hey, if you want to see this, you can currently watch it for free on whatever that is. Again, one of the reasons why people look at me silly when I tell them this, my colleagues, my coworkers, people in my life, when I tell them if I'm interested in something, I will buy it. Because by the time I finally have the time and the stars align to see it, I know where to find it. Because I can only imagine if I said, oh, tonight we're watching The Burning, and then I open Prime, rights currently expired. I never would have seen it. Now, I already told you all this movie's not going on my shelf, but that's not the point. The point is that I need to have some stake in the game, and I need to limit the amount of things that I have the option of watching on that day and time. If I'm in the mood for a movie, I need to have all of the movies in front of me. It's like I said, I don't collect, I curate. One of these days, every title on that shelf is going to be one that I cannot wait to watch again. I'm going to have a personally perfect curated collection. This is not joining on there. Now to start off with, I had heard about this movie through the grapevine for years. Great trailer. Absolute wonderful trailer. I was reminded again of how much I wanted to see this when I watched one of those great Cinema Snob year in film videos. One of my favorite things on the internet that Brad does every couple months. This has an amazing trailer, and the movie should definitely be called Don't. I think The Burning is already not the best title for this. Movie starts out with a little bit, I'm not going to spoil this movie. Even though it's not going on the shelf, it's got enough of a cult following that I'm sure somebody's going to see this video. If they've not seen the movie yet, again, you can currently find it on this random streaming service I've never heard of. But the movie opens on an interesting idea, and then immediately I am overwhelmed by, what do you mean? So this movie starts, and you've got a group of campers together. Children campers. Already different from Friday the 13th. There's children here. You got children campers, and they're talking about how much they hate the groundskeeper, Cropsy. They hate the groundskeeper. He's awful, he's horrible, he tortures the kids, borderline. So they're going to play a prank on him. And the prank ends up being they have a human skull that they found. Now, the movie never tells me whose skull this is, where they found the skull, how they got the skull, any of that. There is no reference to how they got this skull. Needless to say, things go horrible because the burning is, Cropsey is horribly burned. Okay. We then cut to several years later. Now, over these years, Cropsey has been in the hospital. He is a burnt husk of a man, and we don't get to see what he looks like. Okay, we're starting out pretty strong, I'd say. Outside of me trying to figure out where'd they get that skull, we're starting to figure things out. And the movie immediately dives into a very certain style. Because we only have one kill in this movie for a long, long while. Like I'm saying 45 minutes without a kill, it feels like. It might be longer. But Cropsey wears very similar to like an Italian giallo getup, where he's wearing, black gloves, trench coat, hat, in the shadows. He picks up a lady of the evening. And the lady of the evening is just like, come on, let's get this done. And then by the time she's able to see him, we don't. She's terrified and saying, please get out. Please get out. Absolutely get out. He kills her. Kill's not the best. And then we cut to the summer camp. It's not the same camp. Then they do a campfire tale of the Cropsey event. They say it's a different camp. And that immediately set off flags in my head of being like, why not make it the same camp? It's like when I saw Lincoln in theaters, and we see the president's death announced at a different theater. It's like, you might as well, hey, I watched the entirety of the Lincoln biopic. You might as well show him get shot at that point. Or at least let me see the view of a bystander at Ford's Theater. Don't tell me the president's been shot at a different theater. So it's not the same camp. And 99% of the people in this movie are not connected to Cropsey. That's kind of a twist that they do near the end. I'm not going to bring that up. But I will say, I really wanted to like this movie because it starts off with the credits. And I already talked to you all about how this movie already has a bigger monster in the shadows. As this is one of the, if not the, it's one of the first of, if not the first movie officially produced by Miramax via the Weinsteins, and there's actually a case that goes back to this film's production. So there's already a dark cloud over this, but that dark cloud is lifted when it tells me the death scenes and the effects are done by one Tom Savini, the creator of the best Friday the 13th effects. You know, he's one of the guys. He's one of the best guys. You see Tom Savini attached to a production, you know you're going to get your money's worth in one way or another. And the kills aren't satisfying. Especially if you grow up like me and you hear stories throughout the internet of this movie was edited to hell. They cut out a lot of the gore. They censored a lot of the scenes. You hear about an unrated cut. You hear about an unrated version on a foreign overseas DVD. And then you hear it's finally coming to Blu-ray. To the point where they tell you on a sticker on the Shout Factory release, in all of its gory glory, our killer has big garden shears, giant garden shears. And I'm ready to see decapitations. I'm ready to see, a lot of guts, a lot of gore. I'm braced for it. I'm prepared for it. And you don't get that. You get a couple fingers lobbed off, and you do get some blood. But a lot of it's not at all what you're expecting when you hear, this movie got edited a lot for its release. This could have gotten an X rating. The original Friday the 13th is gorier And the kills are much more inventive, a lot more imaginative. They're going to stay with me. They stay in the back parts of my head. Nothing from this movie, kill-wise, is going to, stay in my subconscious. Whereas, the arrow through the neck, via one Tom Savini, under the bed in Friday the 13th, blowing into where the pump broke, and so the blood spurts out randomly, that is going to stay with me. That's one of the kills that makes Friday the 13th Part 1 so memorable. This movie doesn't have that. I will tell you, this is the first screen appearance of Jason Alexander. His screen presence is amazing in this. For him to have this persona out of the gate, it is absolutely incredible. I'm glad to see that he went on, to bigger and better things. I mean, he's got Seinfeld money, so he's never going to have to worry again. He keeps trying other projects. I love Jason Alexander. But he steals every scene he's in. He steals every scene he's in. Parts of this movie that work best are the campfire tales. Elements that happen. All of the canoes are missing. So they have to develop a raft to escape. And then, after a fateful scene, the raft floats back to camp. And all hope is lost. That stuff works. You don't see Cropsey until the very end. Now, you see Cropsey for 1 second. You see the side of his head in a cabin window. And when he shows up in that quick shot, it was terrifying. I was like, oh, if this is what we're doing, I'm here. And then by the time you see him, because they keep him in the shadows, you don't see him. And then we see him in that final scene, he's not all that scary. I don't think the final design works as well as that initial glimpse does. And I think it's to the movie's detriment. There's also definitive death at the end. There's no sequels. There's no franchise. There's no remake. I can understand why this movie, when it came out in 1981, 1982, and then you may have seen it and been like, oh, this was decent, but then you hear about for years, this got cut or this got cut. The pre-internet rumors of reading things in print and, people having to play a game of telephone to figure out what it is that they read. Book gets mistranslated, I'm sure. And be like, this scene had Bubba Da Ba in it. And you're like, oh, Lord, Bubba Da Ba. Oh, man, I can't believe that. I want to see that. And the movie's very underwhelming because of that. I didn't hate it. I ended up giving a 2.5 out of 5. It did not waste my time. Jason Alexander is really good in this. He's like a third string character. He's not a main, he's not a secondary, but when he shows up, he is funny. He is nailing every single line. He steals every scene that he's in. Also the poster, again. I'm not the biggest fan, if you've seen this channel before, I'm not the biggest fan of slipcovers like this. Because, of course, a slipcover like this and a release like this is designed for a fan of the movie. And if you're a fan of the movie, you already know what your killer looks like. You already know, why is this skull here? I don't want to be spoiled by anything, even the packaging. This movie's original poster, I think, works a lot better. It's a lot of underwhelming things. The movie sets up a creepy kid, and you're thinking maybe Cropsey will partner with the creepy kid or manipulate the creepy kid, and then the creepy kid, it's at the end of the day, it's a race to save the creepy kid and stuff like that, where it's like, I was really expecting more from Alfred, maybe a final twist, maybe some connection between Alfred and Cropsy. Anything like that I really think could have saved this movie, or at the very least given it something more than a 2.5 out of 5. If I'm tasked with remaking this movie, I've got enough ideas that I really think we can bring this up a little bit. But when I read somewhere that this was the best summer camp slasher, this is leagues below even the original Friday the 13th. But with that, The Burning, which I purchased for $10 in cash, used. The Burning will be going in my McKay's bag for my next trip. Now that trip is coming up, and this bag is getting pretty full. Very excited for that trip coming up. Looking at a couple weeks, and I'm gonna have a haul video for you all, a proper haul video, and I'm very much looking forward to it because I don't even know what I'm gonna find on that trip. Now this other movie is I have to explain to you all why I pick up certain movies. The Last Witch Hunter from 2015. Now, if you're asking me, why did you watch The Last Witch Hunter? I'll tell you before I get there. I picked this up at McKay's for $1.95 in store credit, and stars Vin Diesel. And this movie is based on Vin Diesel's personal D&D campaign. It's not based on any pre-existing property. He didn't publish this as a book, didn't sell this as anything else. If you go to Wikipedia, it tells you his character's name, and that it's by Vin Diesel. Story by Vin Diesel, based on his D&D campaign. And if this is what this man's D&D campaign looks like, that must be a slog to get through. Because when I tell you, this movie got a 1, because it's one of those things where the effects were done, the camera was on, the lighting was on, people were in the shot, and the shots were in focus. It's a boring waste of time. You've got Vin Diesel. You've got Elijah Wood. You've got, oh Lord, what is her name? Rose Leslie. You got Michael Caine. Michael Caine, Elijah Wood, and Rose Leslie are trying in this, but there's nothing for them to try with. Again, story by Vin Diesel. He didn't write the script, but the script writers didn't really have anything to go with, really. And the fact that this is what Rose made during the height of her Game of Thrones popularity. You were great in that final season of Luther, and I'm sorry that you're in this. When I tell you, I barely remember the plot to this movie, and I can tell you a lot about a lot of movies that I've seen. This is one of those movies where Vin Diesel is literally a witch hunter. In medieval times, he hunts a witch, and a witch curses him with immortality. And so there's a sect that forms of the Catholic Church that has, because Vin Diesel lives forever, they have to keep giving him people that watch over him, that are his confidants in the church. They're called the Shield and the Axe or something. I don't know. I'm much like Michael Caine wanted to take a nap, because Michael Caine's in this movie for a maximum of 5 minutes, and when I tell you 2 of those 5 minutes are spent with him literally on his back or in a room alone. His final scenes in this movie are literally him in an apartment alone looking out the window. For all I know, that's his house, and somebody had to show up and he's just like, okay, I'm going to wear my normal shirt, I'm going to look out there and you tell me where to look, and that's it. He's putting in more effort in Jaws 4 than he is in this movie. There's something weird about when Vin Diesel smiles. He does that a couple times in this. This is borderline like Artemis Fowl, the film version of Artemis Fowl levels of like, what are we doing here? What's the mythos? We're just making things up as we go along? Yes, because it's Vin Diesel's D&D campaign. There's nothing. I don't even think he's the dungeon master in that campaign. I think he's just the character. He's not in the famous celebrity D&D campaign. He wasn't in that picture with Vince Vaughn. This movie is a waste of your time. The twists are as twisted as spaghetti. Like uncooked spaghetti. It's a straight line, and you can see one end from the other. And this movie lost money in the box office. It lost money in theaters in 2015. Come to find out, apparently it made a lot of money on video. Because they're making a sequel, and Vin Diesel became best friends with Michael Caine to the point where Michael Caine is coming out of retirement for The Last Witch Hunter 2. You mean to tell me this man wasn't in Oppenheimer, but we can get him to be in Last Witch Hunter 2? Are you serious? So yeah, Last Witch Hunter 2, understandably, is going in my McKay's bag. But with that, that's it for this week of the Book Club for Movies. I hope to catch you next time, next week. Hopefully. If not, I'll see you when I see you. Have a good week, everyone.